Hi, and welcome to the Graceful Rebuild podcast. This is podcast number 1 for us. I'm your host, Maddie and Lena, and our mission here basically is to talk about engaging discussions about deconstruction, reconstruction, our faith, being a survivor, biblical womanhood. If it's a hard topic, we're probably going to cover it. Yeah, and then just to do it in the most grace-filled way possible.
While still holding our morals and values as Jesus, pointing back to Scripture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're really trying to be gospel focused, but also very woman focused too. Coming from both of us being abuse survivors, so we're gonna be talking a lot of abuse in the church. What does that look like? How have we gotten through certain situations? And all of that. So we are excited. This is episode number 1. Finally, it's taken a while.
Oh my goodness.
My gosh, where to begin on that one? Our first episode, though, we're just going to come on here and talk about basically what is our podcast, who are we. We won't get too deep into every single topic today, but we are going to discuss just overview of like what are we going to discuss in the future. What are some conversations that we want to be had? What is our mission and goals, our values, all those things. Just so we can give you guys an overview of what you're going to be listening to in the future and why we exist. So it's going to be very casual. You can see, I mean, we're in our socks. We're sitting on my living room couch. It's going to be super engaging, super chill. We want this to be
like the best.
Yeah, for real. Like we have these conversations.
Nothing against podcasters who have their table set up, but this is cozy. I like cozy vibes.
Yeah,
just having a living room conversation.
Yes, absolutely. But we want to be very engaging and relatable, so we're excited. So we're gonna delve right into it. First, we're gonna talk about our podcast and our name and where we got it from.
Yes. I will preface, I think the grace word, that has been her word of 2025. And so I think it fit perfectly with the graceful rebuild. Kind of went through a couple of names in my head at first. Where I'm like, I don't know. And then I think the word just grace kept coming back to us and how much we love that word. So the graceful rebuild as in we both are reconstructing a lot of our faith. Both coming from a lot of legalistic upbringings to what does true faith and freedom look like in Jesus. So emphasis on the word rebuild. We're tearing down walls and everything new and we're rebuilding them back.
Yeah.
Little by little.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we're knocking stuff back down and we're building it back up and then we're knocking back down because it's not perfect.
Right. The Christian journey, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think both of us, we really we went back and forth because we wanted to talk about something to do with RE, like reconstruction, rebuild, reform, something. Not reformed. Reconstruction. Like, we wanted something like that to just kind of, highlight the fact that we're going to be talking about both of our journeys and the things that we've learned along the way. So hopefully we can help other women out there and just be a voice for, the things we've been through.
And I don't think it's going to be just geared for women. It's coming more for women, but also I want to acknowledge the fact that there are men out there that go through, a lot of church abuse. This is more for women in our walk in Jesus, but also men, you are more than welcome to come on here and leave comments and all of that fun stuff.
So. Absolutely. And then also her point on grace. Both of us are very grace-focused, grace-centered. So disclaimer, if you are looking for the Hellfire and Brimstone podcast, have reached the wrong channel. Dial it back a few notches. We are not for you.
Yep.
We will
turn back around.
This is not the right podcast. Yeah. Sorry. No offense to our Hellfire and Brimstone listeners.
Yes.
But we are going to be very grace focused on this podcast, and we really wanted to emphasize that, especially both of us coming from more religiously abusive backgrounds, where grace didn't exist. It was
Yep.
big that we had that in our name.
Like it's almost like suffocating how we grew up. It's like
Yes.
you can't even breathe without something going.
Right. So
the wrong
Grace is
way.
such a
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air for us.
Yeah.
So definitely needed to be in the name.
Yes.
I feel like
agree.
it's a conversation me and her have all the
Mhm.
time too.
And let me also like preface, this is not saying that, oh, this gives us an excuse to sin and do whatever
Right.
we want and live our lives however we want.
Right.
What we're saying is we are complete and perfect human beings still being molded by Jesus, and we're gonna mess up
Mhm.
500 times a day. As what we went through, we didn't even have the room to mess up.
No.
We didn't have the room to make a mistake.
Mm-mm.
So that's why we emphasize grace. So don't come at us saying, oh, so this is a free for all card. No, we hold to the gospel. We hold to truth, but we give grace because that's who Jesus was too.
Absolutely.
He was so full of grace, and we missed that part.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's the whole point.
We
Yeah.
get to live by certain standards that not a lot of people can live by.
Mhm.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads us into the next thing, which is like talking about, okay, what topics are we going to discuss on this podcast? Like, what are some big ones that I think both of us have highlighted that we both really wanted to share with our audience?
Oh man, I have a feeling we're gonna have like a year's worth of episodes already.
Just off the top of our head.
We're gonna have so many great conversations. We're gonna dive deep into controversial conversations where a lot of Christians, maybe within the church too, is black and white. Everything's black and white, where we are seeing like there's more than just one side or the other. I mean, look at our country right now. Not trying to get political, but everything is one side or another. There's no middle ground. And so I believe with Christianity, it's okay to have some views over here, some views over there. It's I don't know. You mentioned something earlier about our personalities and how we have different personalities, but they mesh very well together.
Because gospel is our core, right? Yeah. So it's like all the extra, we have differing opinions on several things. Like as we delve into some of these topics, you'll see, like, for instance, in politics or how we handle kids, or which you're a mother, I'm not, but like we still have differing views, but we agree on I think at least two main things. One, the gospel, and two, we both believe abuse is wrong and women need a voice.
Yes.
And I think that those two passions combined has made us like very passionate in wanting to do this podcast and talk about this. So, I mean, some of the topics, like she mentioned some, like, we will discuss some political stuff. We won't go too political, but we will discuss, like, a few things.
I think because it's just so big and it's like in our faces right now, we want to cover some of that political stuff that's going on. Like, I kind of ties back to the whole black and white thing. There's two sides. That's it. That everybody's against each other. No one's, it's actually really sad watching all of that. But our goal is not to be political. We're not here to, tell everybody what side to be on. I'm in the middle. I'll just be completely honest. We have a lot of different political views. Even me and my husband have different political views. And or no, I don't hear saying there's one side. That's it.
Not over here. You're going to hell.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. No. I think we're also gonna discuss like abuse, different forms of abuse. We'll get into physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual.
Yeah.
We'll share, both of us, like the next following episodes, we will share both of our testimonies. We're going to talk about
a little bit about the patriarchy and feminism. That's going to be big
for us.
That a lot of people do not like about.
Nope.
It's happening. Both, feminism and patriarchy is two very real things that's happening.
Again, black and white, right?
Yeah. So we're going to definitely dive into what is biblical feminism look like?
What are our views on divorce? What are our views on abuse in relationships? What are our views on
the church? The church covers up abuse.
What about marriage? What are gender roles? What do those look like? What do we believe biblical womanhood is? What do we think? It's going to be a conglomerate of discussions just dealing, with us and our stories and our experience, and also being a woman. We are going to try to be as biblically based as we can. Not everything we say will have a verse tacked on to the end of it.
Yeah.
We are growing and we are learning, and there will be mistakes, and we are open for conversation.
Yeah. So we welcome all conversations here. Don't be afraid to leave comments. We want to know if we are, overstepping something or, misguided or misleading, please, again, going back to Grace, we're not perfect, but definitely let us know about that, because we want to be a safe space and a positive space here.
Yes.
And then, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Keep going.
You're good.
Oh, I had a thought.
First episode.
Oh, the Bible. The Bible. I think I'm coming to realize that people have different interpretations of the Bible. So I think we should talk about that as well as one of our episodes, because, for example, as we are recording, we are all supposed to be raptured right now. So, I mean where he is? I don't know where he is, but that kind of goes into my next thought of how the Bible's misleading people, and that's an abusive right there. That's an abusive behavior, because I think everybody has different views on the rapture. I'm not even sure where I stand with the rapture. But that right there, that is an example of not truth from the Bible, because the Bible does clearly state that only the Father in heaven knows. So, we understand too, but that there are different interpretations of Scripture.
Yes, and I think both of us agree, because coming from our past, what you believe about God directly affects what you believe about yourself and what you believe about other people
around you. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking identity. We're going to be talking about loving others and loving ourselves, and how that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. It's how you see yourself and how you love yourself. It pours out into other people.
Absolutely.
It affects other people.
Yes.
And I can say that because I have 2 daughters. So there are days where I have to catch myself oh, I cannot be saying that about myself. I am beautiful and all these things. But yes, it is okay to 100% love yourself and take care of yourself and put yourself first.
Yeah.
Because if you're completely putting everyone else around you first and never, pouring into yourself, how the heck are you supposed to pour into other people? Which goes into the famous line, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You reformers, though, say that you can.
That might be another topic.
Yeah.
Shame.
There will be a lot of theology thoughts in here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of theology, because
we will
I just recently discovered there's 44,000 denominations.
That's insane.
Within Christianity.
That's insane.
That blew my mind. I was like, wow, how have we become so divided like that?
Yes. And just a disclaimer, we will be talking about Reformed theology and what our thoughts are on that.
She grew up Reformed.
I grew up almost hyper Calvinist.
Yeah. So. I came out of a church that was extremely Reformed. So that's why we're emphasizing Reformed
theology.
Yeah.
We're going to get it. We won't get into the nuts and bolts. I don't want to bore you with Reformation theology, but we are going to get into some of the harmful ideas that are portrayed in it, and why we have walked away from those beliefs, and
why we are life.
Right. And why we're repulsed by it too.
Yeah.
Which is, again, we are never hating our audience. People who are Reformed hold to Calvinistic practices. We are not saying that, to hell with you or any of that. We are just stating from our point of view, our opinions, and just more as a warning, and maybe as engaging thoughts, right? Because we're not trying to change anybody's belief. We're trying to change the way you think about certain beliefs.
I would say we're challenging you. At the end of the day, I'm not here to sway anybody. That's not our mission and goal here. We're not here to try to make you think a certain way. We're here to challenge you. Oh, have I ever to step back and think to yourself, have I ever thought about that before? Have I looked through a different pair of glasses before? Have I just kept the one pair of glasses on? I like to use glasses as an example, but have I only kept one pair of glasses on my entire life because that's all I've been taught? It's all I know. And stepping back and saying, let me try and look at something else for a minute. And stepping into someone else's shoes like, oh, okay, I can see where you're coming from. You don't have to believe us or agree. That is completely okay. But simply saying that is a challenging thought. Let's talk more about that. And I wish we could have more conversations like that in our society. It just feels like we can't. So we're here to do that.
Yes. Which kind of goes into our next thing, which is like the tone and our audience and, who are we trying to reach? What is our target audience? I mean, she mentioned earlier, we are more woman focused, but we are engaging to all audiences. Like we just want to be here to conversate, chat, to, talk about the issues that we feel passionate about, whether you're male, female, whatever. We're just here to have those conversations and have those deep conversations. And then tone-wise, like, we're gonna be funny. This is casual. There's nothing uptight. Like,
we'll have a few fun episodes.
We will
along the way.
We'll get her kids on. We might interview my dog. I love that. Our lovely little emotional support, little menace.
Yes,
she's asleep.
Yes,
we'll introduce her at some point. Yeah, but it's gonna be super. We're pretty funny people. We're gonna joke. We're gonna have fun. Disclaimer: there may be some cussing on these episodes, so if you don't want to hear that, or you have kids, you don't want to hear that around. Just giving that disclaimer up front that there might be words that slip out on the occasion. Me and her have beliefs on that. Yeah, we might get to that on a later episode. And then also there will be some dark humor.
Yes.
Trigger warnings. We're talking about abuse. We're talking about things of the past. We will not explicitly mention names unless we get specific permission from the person. So we if we do mention a name, it might be a made up name. John Doe, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're going to be
privacy.
Yes. We're going to be pretty cautious about that, especially since some of both of our stories, the people in the stories, they might still be in abuse or they might be still the abuser. So either way, we're going to keep those names confidential. We're going to be very, very confidential about that. And then dark humor, we do laugh.
I have a lot of dark humor. And people who are close to me, people out there, if you know who you are. But yeah, I have a lot of dark humor. But I also heard once from my therapist that, like, if you can't laugh about, like, from the past, like, have you truly moved on? In a way, we're not laughing because, we think it's funny that's happening.
Or trivial.
Yeah. We're laughing. It's like, wow, we survived it and here we are. And looking back, some of it is laughable. It is laughable. And it's a sign of healing. That's my belief on it. If you can't laugh about the past, are you healing? I think it's a sign of healing.
Right.
And laughter's so good for you.
It is.
Yeah.
For the people out there who maybe are at the spot where their abuse is, or parts of their abuse is not laughable, we by no means want to offend you or make you feel like you should be there. Anybody listening has every right to be in their own skin and feel their own feelings about their abuser. And so we don't want to discredit that at all.
Yeah.
It's mostly just for us to make light of a situation, not to trivialize it, but more to just show how ironically, like, stupid it is. Almost to put it in that light.
Yeah. That's a good thought.
So just heads up for that. Going into our next topic, we're going to talk about me and her and how we met. Because obviously we didn't just walk down the street and be like, hey, you want to be on a podcast? Were you here?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just how it totally happened.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So you want to start off?
So I met Maddie through my lovely sister. They went to the same college together.
Mhm.
Um, kind of just had some casual conversations. Became social media friends. That was about it. And then my daughter, who was born 2024, end of 2024, we started connecting, I think January of 2025. And then we
Mhm.
just slowly like started sharing our stories. And all of a sudden we're like, whoa, we have a ton in common.
Mhm.
And like almost as far, I'm like, are we related? Like it was crazy
Mhm.
how similar our stories were.
Mhm.
Um, and then she lived with me for a brief time for like spring going into summer.
Mhm.
And that's when we really got close. And then I think the end of that season where she moved out, we were like, we need to start a podcast
Mhm.
because, yeah,
Yeah.
we have so much to talk about. We started having so many conversations about like, biblical rules and all of these things. And we're like, we need to just get on a podcast and talk because this is such good stuff to be.
Well, we also realized that so many of the topics that we were so passionate about weren't being discussed on your typical everyday Christian Girl podcast, right? We hear a lot about, and I'm not dissing any Christian Girl podcast out
Yeah.
there. I think you guys are great. And you guys have a purpose.
Mhm.
But there is a lot on like dating and being single and being content in your singleness. Like I just felt like, it's the same topics over and over again. Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But
There's a
there
lot
was
of fruit that comes from
certain
that.
well, I mean, our lives, you don't hear much about like women being abused in the church and people who have differing views other than the traditional views of roles in marriage. And, you don't hear that too much. And you don't hear young women talk about it as much either. But as we talked with each other and we know several people who have been through similar stories as us, it became very apparent that a lot of women out there have had similar stories that have reached out to both of us and been like,
Wow.
oh my gosh. Like we were on the Renewed Mind podcast not too long ago. And
I think like June or July.
yeah, not too long ago. And we published an episode. And I don't know about you, but I had like lots of people that were like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, let me tell you my story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy to me, like how many women are out there that don't feel like they have a voice or that they can discuss these things because it's
just looked down upon.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not, sometimes there's so much of Christianity and it's kind of mind blowing because I've been all over. I mean, so many churches, so many different denominations, all these things. I've seen so many. I mean, there's still more that I haven't seen, but
Mm-hmm.
it always comes back to there's this one side that just overemphasizes we need to just suck it up and go through the pain. And, Jesus wants us, like, it brings us closer to Jesus, which, yes, I will say that is true. And there's this one side that to the extent, though, that it's almost covering up a misleading abuse that's like, okay, hold on a second. I get the pain brings us closer to Christ in a way, and it does, but it's so overemphasized on how we need to be living as a believer that we're basically walking over people.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, this is again, more topics that we're going to be discussing in the future, but like even talking about like the Southern Baptist Convention and how they've covered up so many different sex scandals and people in high places who are abusing women and children. And, women are told you just need to shut up and be silent. And they're taking verses and using them for control, power, manipulation. And they're totally twisting the way God put order and people in place and using it for their own good to control and to manipulate. And I think both of us realize how, like, this is just something that's become normal. Like, women are just supposed to be okay with it. We're just supposed to run along with it, and basically just give up. And I think both of us being survivors of what we've been through has made us more aware of that, sniffing it out like, oh my gosh. And that's part of the reason why we're sitting here today talking about these things.
And also another part of that is I want to change the next generation in a way that
Mm-hmm.
is fully in love with Jesus, but that's also not missing things like that, particularly like abuse, that's saying, hey, because Jesus doesn't want abuse for his
Mm-mm.
people. He does not. I never see a verse in the Bible where it says, you go through abuse and you're closer to me. No, I
Mhm.
never, ever, ever see that. He doesn't want that for his sons or daughters. And I have 2 daughters, and I'm sorry, but I don't want their voices to be silenced.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to know that they can, if someone oversteps a boundary in their life, they are allowed to say no and walk away, and not, you need to just keep doing your thing and keep being walked on. So
Mhm.
that's a big part of why I want to bring this to the surface, because raising 2 daughters in a Christian worldview can
Mhm.
become a little bit difficult, if you know what I mean, where
Yes.
women are viewed a certain way.
Yes, absolutely. And then as far as what we want you guys to take from us in each episode, what would you say is our biggest, every single episode, what do we hope they grab from it?
I hope they hear hope.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the very first thing I want them to hear and feel, is that there's hope. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you are not alone through in whatever abuse you have gone through, maybe currently going through, or past, present, future. I mean, you name it. But I guess the biggest thing is hope, realness,
Mm-hmm.
and relatable.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that they also hear, again, going back to just 2 imperfect people. We have by no means have not arrived. We are not saying we have arrived. We
I've
just
definitely arrived.
well, what did you do to get there? I'd love to know your secret.
It's secret recipe.
But we this sounds funny coming out of my mouth, but we are continuously arriving.
Yes.
I think that's going to be my new thing. We are constantly arriving.
Sometimes we arrive, we back up, and we pull up somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. But we're scientifically, our personalities and our brains change every 2 years. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we are constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not arriving. We're just saying, this is what has worked for us. This is what we did to get here. And we hope that our viewers just feel loved and heard and seen, and even come at us a little bit. Like,
yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. We're not going to have an answer for every question you throw at us, but we definitely want to engage or start conversations that hopefully, lead to other things, get people thinking about certain subjects, and even doing a deep dive of their own faith to better understand why they believe the things that they do.
And not because someone taught you it. Why do you believe the things you believe?
Mm-hmm.
I believe the things I believe because I went through some really tough work digging through the Bible, talking to, other believers, and, not, oh, I just heard one pastor tell me it in my entire life, so that's just, that's it. So,
right.
Why do you believe it? And I want to know, through yourself, not, well, that's just what I've been taught my whole life. Tell me something new.
Right.
Saying though. That's what I've been taught my whole life too. And so I realized, red flag.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Something's wrong here.
Yeah.
I know for me, what I want people to take away from every podcast is just that you have a voice. And I want people to leave feeling strengthened and feeling like they have people that are out there talking about things that aren't always talked about. That there is an outlet out there that they do have the ability to talk about these things and to feel loved and seen. And then also I want people to start, as we progress, understanding grace more. Both of us, I know in my walk, I'm only 2 years out of my situation, understanding grace and how that impacts the way we think about things, and hopefully their audience will pick up on that and start seeing how grace affects their life too. Because I know that's one of our
huge
purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna mess up. I I'm a mom. I mess up so many freaking times all the time. And I sometimes I'll catch myself like, oh, I don't deserve to be a mom. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Grace covers that. And then kneeling to Jesus for a second and saying, hey, Lord, I need the grace to get through this. And
Mm-hmm.
thank you that your grace covers this.
Mhm.
Your grace covers this. And also remembering that when you become a believer, you're not just going to, boom, everything gets better.
Absolutely.
I've realized I've questioned my own faith so many times, and I think that's actually completely okay. But that's another thing I would point out to my viewers is knowing that when you are a follower of Christ, it's not going to just be easier and sin just goes away and it's all better. But that's where the grace comes in. That's why we emphasize it so much. But that you're going to mess up. You're going to mess up because we live in an imperfect world, and until we see Jesus face to face, you're going to mess up, and that's okay.
Right. And when you do mess up, the point of it is not to focus on the mess up, but it's to focus on the grace of God. And I think that's still a realization for both of us where instead of focusing so much on the sin that takes our eyes off the Savior, we focus on grace when we do mess up. And instead of beating ourselves down for what we've done and thinking about ourselves in a way that God doesn't even think about ourselves, we choose to look at grace and to look at Christ and his finished work.
Yeah.
And rest in that. And I hope and pray that our followers and the people that listen to us will get that from both of us. And we are very grace focused and loving individuals, because as Christians, they will know us by our fruit.
Yep.
By our fruit and by our love.
Yeah.
So,
and we need a lot of love in this world right now.
Absolutely.
So much love. I think it would go so much smoother, but we need so much love. So give yourselves love tonight.
Yes.
Definitely do that. Also, remember this, like, Jesus didn't stay hanging on the cross. He didn't stay hanging on the cross. That's why I love that part. My favorite part is the third day he rose again and conquered everything. And you now wear a beautiful robe. And when he sees you, he doesn't see this dirty mess up. He sees a beautiful royal priesthood, as scripture says, not a mess up. So don't view yourself that way. View yourself in a beautiful, righteous robe, because that's how God sees you. Yeah.
I mean, probably one of our first podcasts, we'll be talking about, our identity and what does that look like? What is identity? How does it affect the way we think about ourselves?
The way we live every day.
The way we live, how we respond to sin, how we respond to the ups and downs in life. How do we respond to other people's sin?
I think it goes so much far to identity affects even the physical aspects of your life, like, eating and mental health. Because I feel like if my identity is being crushed in that moment, or I start to lose who I am, my body kind of follows it. And physically, there's some harm that's done a little bit. Not necessarily like I get sick or anything, but in a way, I don't eat very well, or I don't, because I'm not taking care of myself, because my mind, mindset is such a big, big factor. But my mind is thinking, oh, well, I'm just a mess up. And instead of going back to the cross and back to how Jesus sees me. And when I'm identity focused on Christ, I notice my days a little bit smoother. It's lightened.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then for our podcast too, like, we are together and we just are going to discuss these topics together, but we also are, we bring our own personal things that we want to talk about to the show. What are some things that, like, you are, like, on fire for that you really can't wait to discuss, or maybe that you're nervous about going into the podcast?
I think the biggest thing that not necessarily nervous, but more of like, this one's going to kind of step on people's toes, is how feminism does play into biblical womanhood. Because I grew up where women, there's this trad movement that's put a bitter taste in my mouth because
Mhm.
it tells women that that's what their only purpose is and only good for. Um, Again, I'm not saying that being a stay-at-home wife and mom is a
Yes.
bad thing. I am a stay-at-home mom right now. I
Yes.
literally do that. So I'm not saying that that is bad, but what I'm saying is these teachings, we've gone so far to say that this is the way. So I'm definitely excited to talk about feminism and um,
Also, like, how do you view feminism?
yeah, it's not the way that
And not the way
God.
you've got a thought in your head about right now about the word feminism. It's not what you think.
Look at the word.
I
Literally just
swear
says
she's
women's
not the
rights.
feminist that you're thinking.
Yeah, there's actually two feminists in the world. There's the one that says, we are not of God. We want, to destroy all men. And that is not, oh my gosh, no, that's so far from what I believe. I absolutely love men. We need men in this world. And if we took
Absolutely.
out all men, we'd be kind of screwed.
I think we wouldn't exist.
We would not exist. We are grateful for the men out there. So thank you to all the incredible men who are kind and loving and compassionate
There are
and
men out there.
lead their families so well.
Yeah.
So yes, throw that thought of feminists away. Not when there is a biblical view of feminism. So I'm really excited to talk about that one. I'm nervous a little bit to talk about some of the certain events that are happening, our states, right? Or states, our country right now. Because I do want to dive into a little bit just because it's affecting every single person.
I'd agree.
Every single person. So I'm a little bit nervous because I know that there's so many different views on political stuff and, whether you're a liberal, conservative, whatever. I believe on our podcast, it doesn't matter if you're conservative or liberal. If you believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ, you are
right.
That's it.
Right. Wait, you're saying that when we get to the pearly gates, it's not going to ask you
were you
who you
conservative?
voted for in the last
Yes.
election?
Right.
I didn't vote.
I didn't either by choice.
So I didn't anyway.
We'll talk about that soon. But yeah, we'll talk about like voting and why, I don't know why you didn't vote, but I personally intentionally did not vote for some good reasons. So we'll talk about that later though. So I'm a little nervous to talk about that because I know that will rub some people wrong, but yeah, whatever. We're here for deep, hard conversations. I'm excited to talk about marriage and how okay, that one does make me a little nervous. Marriage roles and how
It's a hot topic.
yes.
A lot of controversy on that one.
How I believe that if you are okay, I'm going to use some words in here. If you believe in biblical submission, hold that word submission. That this word has been twisted and has been used against women in such a terrible way.
Mm-hmm. To the point that I feel like women are almost blinded.
Yeah.
By how that word has been twisted and used. Like, even if your husband isn't necessarily abusive or he isn't aiming to be any certain way.
Right. Yeah.
By using the term in the context that a lot of people do in like more, I'm not politically conservative, but conservative Christian churches, it does affect, I think it directly affects the abuse rates in churches today because that verse is so twisted out of its context that we've got people from a far range of beliefs.
Yeah.
Just by using that, they could be, even like hyper, you have to wear your hair a certain way, submission is obedient, like, and we will get into that. That will be a big, probably a 1 to 2 part.
Because we're not saying that that is what every woman is doing. No. And we do not believe that godly husbands are doing that. There are good, godly husbands out there that do believe in that. And that's completely okay. I have lots of friends who believe in that. So personally, I do not. I believe in egalitarianism. And I want to cover that because that's the complementary demonizes that. And we need to address that and why it's so demonized. Because
well, again, it's the black and the white complex that we're dealing
okay
with.
to be, if you're in an egalitarian relationship, that's okay. It doesn't mean your wife is trampling over you. It doesn't mean your husband's trampling over you. But we are saying that, like, there's a healthy view of submission and what Scripture says it is, and is not. I have lived it. That's why I can say this. I have lived an unhealthy view of submission. It hurt me pretty bad. Like, to the point where I didn't know if I wanted to ever be married. But God had great plans for my life.
Yes.
But, I, again, not using names, but specific person, and the church definitely abused that against me.
Yeah. No, those are great topics. That we'll definitely dive into in subtopics. We have so much to discuss. We've talked a lot about, oh my gosh, we should talk about this and we should talk about that. For me personally, I cannot wait to talk about how certain doctrines, especially when it comes to more reformed or legalistic tendencies, those are hot topics for me. I love getting into those and talking about, like, why we believe certain things about grace and God and His character.
And theology kind of, like, hand in hand, like the same thing.
I think they go hand in hand.
Okay.
She's putting me on air.
I'm just no.
Theology is the study of God. Doctrine,
Yes.
I think, is your belief about.
So in a way, it's
things
almost like
as a
bad
whole.
theology. There's such things as that, right?
Yeah, bad theology, bad doctrine.
Yeah, okay.
I think doctrine is teaching.
Okay, so like about Baptist and Reformed, or
Maybe. I'll have to get back to you.
good.
But yeah, I really do want to talk about, like, why
denominations. My gosh, I'm getting all those.
there really is, but, like, why we don't believe in certain, why we don't believe God is a controlling tyrant, why we don't believe God's love has a limit, why we don't, certain topics like that, like, were very emphasized to us as a kid, but how we came out of that and how we're continuing to grow, because, only being 2 years out, I have a long ways to go. But getting somewhere.
So good.
I'm getting somewhere, but it is a process for sure. And we'll talk about that too. I really cannot wait to help other women. I think that's part of the reason why both of us started this podcast, is we just love women. We love women.
We love you guys. Love you ladies out there. Yes.
Heart hands.
Ooh, I have another fun topic.
Okay.
I am super excited to actually talk about this. The church.
Yep.
And not to piss anyone off, but the church has gone a little bit down the deep end. But in the same thought, I have never seen, because I did a little research this week, there's so many young people coming to Christ. So there's so much good happening, guys. So I want to, like, bring that to the surface too, because I don't want you guys to just hear negativity. That's not
absolutely not.
I truly see, like, young people truly following Christ, and that is incredible. But going back to our stories and what we grew up in, I grew up in so many different churches, went to so many different churches, and there's some issues. There's realistic expectations and biblical spiritual standards that oh no, frick am I supposed to live up to that? And this pressure, where we lose grace, where we literally lose sight of grace.
We don't understand the sufficiency of grace. We talk about sola scriptura and sola fide and sola. But when it comes to grace, we're like, well, yeah, there's a limit. Or, yeah, that's not sufficient. We need works. Or, that's not sufficient.
Yes.
We need this.
They've added works and grace.
Yes.
It's not by works. It is grace alone.
Works are a result of grace, but they're not necessarily controlled by us.
Right. It's fruit.
And it's not what saves us.
Yeah.
It is ultimately our faith and belief in Christ that saves us. And
did on the cross.
The rest will follow, whether that in the long term or the short term. It each depends on the person and their understanding of grace and how that affects their actions and how they love one another. So, yeah, I cannot wait to get into those conversations and talk about how we've healed from those and where we're at currently. And if you guys have a topic that you guys want to discuss with us, just drop it in the comments. You can send us a DM. Either way, but we love for you guys to bring up certain topics or things that you're interested in that you'd like to hear us talk about.
Absolutely.
Or even questions. Like, we might even do like a Q&A session or something.
Yes. That would be fun. I think we should do like a quarterly, like, or maybe every 3 episodes we do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Just because I think there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And a lot of comments.
Yeah.
And again, we are welcoming that.
We are welcoming it. And it might even be something like, hey, you have a question about this, that, or the other. We might be like, we don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we can do some more research or we can look into it or we're not there yet. But, yeah.
And we will delete and block out any hateful comments. So if you guys are not kind,
please be kind.
I will delete your comments.
Please be
because
kind.
We ain't about hate over here at the
No. We are open for heated conversations in a dignified manner. We're not opposed to back and forth. We will have people on our podcast, a variety of people, actually. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have a list of people down there.
Yeah, we both have people. We definitely will be doing interviews. We'll have guests. We talked about having her kids on.
Mm-hmm. You will not see their faces, but you'll definitely get to hear my adorable little 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Her thoughts of Jesus and her thoughts of just life.
Yes.
She's got the weirdest thoughts, though. She'll probably talk about pizza.
I'm sure I had some pretty weird thoughts at 5 years old, too.
Like some of the things I'm like, huh? Where did you get that from? The most random, hey mama, somebody's don't say that America. Yeah. Like, I'll just be doing something. Mom, I want pizza. It's like just random, like, girl, we just ate dinner or something. Like, 5-year-olds are so funny. Oh gosh.
Bless.
They crack me up.
Bless.
So yeah, you'll get to meet them at some point. Oh my gosh. We do have a little bit of, might be, excuse the noise in the background. We might be colliding or something.
Okay. Not necessarily colliding. We will be collaborating with the podcast. Yeah, we're not going to mention the podcast yet, but we have been in talks. So that will be in the future, probably like 6 to 12 months from now. Hopefully we'll have more collaboration with said podcast. But we are super excited and thrilled for that because the person we both adore and we love. So,
and I think that person also is very good with theology. So that will also help bring some theological discussions into, because we're not necessarily a theological podcast. We're a variety of podcasts.
We're going to chit chat and have fun. That's why we're here.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely going to do interviews. We're definitely going to dive into other people's stories. And just give you a more holistic view of what we're aiming for. And if you in the audience listening right now want to be on our podcast, please don't hesitate to drop a comment, to slide up in our DMs and say, hey, you know what? I want to be on your podcast and I want to talk about said topic. And we'll get back to you.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we'll make it happen. Yes. So how are some ways that people can get involved with our podcast? Where can they find us?
Ooh, definitely give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram. It's the graceful_revealed. Yes. On Instagram, if you're personal friends with us, we have it linked in our bios.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an email set up? I don't remember.
We do not have an email set up yet, but you can definitely DM us on Instagram. I'm pretty sure Facebook too.
Yeah.
YouTube is the other one that's being set up, and then we're about to be on Spotify. So I think by the time this podcast come out, we should be on YouTube and Spotify.
Okay,
but I could be wrong. So please, go like, follow, subscribe, all the things, and tell everyone. Yeah. I mean, we would love for this to grow. Eventually, do public speaking, maybe, and we've thought about books, stuff like that.
I'll book the book writing video.
Okay, maybe I only talk about books.
I will definitely
I'll just type it up.
Just type my thoughts out for me. Yeah.
So yeah, super exciting things ahead. And then our next few episodes, we're going to be interviewing Lena, and talking about her story. You can get to know her. why she has unique perspectives that she does, and then she will be interviewing me in the one after that. And then we'll launch into
our
conversations after that and get all kinds of spicy things.
Yes. Because, no one else is going to talk about it. Shoot.
Yeah.
Let me talk about it.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
So this is episode 1 of The Graceful Rebuild. Thank you for watching us, and we hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye, guys.